Where there's unburied flows and the spirit fills, copper in the veins and they're holding the eyes. We hold the wealth that money cannot buy, from the lands of the Congo to the Sahara heat. The earth is alive beneath our bare feet. They saw the shine, they wanted the prize, but they missed the galaxy hidden in our way. They dug for the silver, they dug for the oil. They try to bleed the life from the golden soil. But how do you empty a cup that is endless? How do you break a root that is boundless? We are the tree that bears but never breaks. Africa, they took the harvest, but we kept the seed. You are the garden that satisfies every need. They loaded the ships and they sailed away, but the rhythm remained. It decided to stay in the weave of the cantate, in the beat of the chest. We are the dynasty, we are the blessed, the rich in the laughter, rich in the rain, standing tall in the sun, standing tall in the pain. We are not victims of a stolen past. We are the first breath and we are the last. Africa. They took the harvest, but we kept the seed. You are the garden that satisfies every need. Look at the skin, black gold. Look at the story never fully told. For every diamond we cut from the stone, we grew a king on a spiritual throne. You cannot loot the soul, you cannot steal the light. We rise in the morning, we shine in the night. Still standing, still rich, still rich. My mama, my mama, my mama. You are the great, you are the great, you are the free, you are the great Africa.
Heavy, 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 heavy.
Wow.
Yeah. Just let us know what we just listened to and what was the inspiration behind that. Okay, you're listening to the voice of Africa, like from the core. You listen to like research, like it's a compilation. It's a voice from Africa, like singing from a higher point, from the core point, and the inspiration. Yeah, this is what the conversation is all about. At the end of the day, you got to get to the high rise to the point where it's free and clear. So shout out to Message Oracle from Africa, now currently in Ghana, my younger brother, Message. He's the one like we brainstorm about this all the time because we understand that at the root of the root is there's a kind of a chain that is placed around us in our heart that prevents us psychologically, mentally, emotionally from actually breaking free and being able to unite. Really? Yes. That's a chain we must break. It's inside. So we understand that. So we brainstorm about that all the time. And he also follows up with the OFC in the house of OFC. So we talked about that and we said, we have this coming up on Sunday. We have a good talk coming up on Sunday. So it's going to be about on spirituality and religion. What can we're talking, okay, I got some for you. So he sent me three songs, which are great songs. And then we said, no, number two is going to be the way to open up the door so we can have a good conversation. So, yeah. I love Jala. It. I love it. I love it. It was very, very fitting. Okay, cool. And I see some of our brothers and sisters are joining us. I'm going to play a short clip. This is a little 3 minute clip. I think it's the same one I played last week, but I found it gave good context just in terms of the conversation, spirituality. And the thing is, this is framed spirituality versus religion, and it's first. I just want to make sure we set the tone. We're not. It's not a either or conversation. It's not a spirituality against religion. So that's really not the case. It is really a matter of us discussing both sides. And discussing from a religious standpoint, discussing from a spiritual standpoint, discussing from a cultural standpoint, discussing from a ritualistic standpoint, and finding our middle ground, understanding that our goal here is to thrive together as a people despite the differences. So again, I just want to reiterate that, but we'll play a short little clip, just give some context, and then we will dive into the conversation. Again, just to check, you guys are seeing my screen. I think you guys are hearing.
Have you ever wondered exactly what the difference is?
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered exactly what the difference is between religion and spirituality? Which one do you lean toward? Hey, it's Dan Zimmerman and welcome back to Illustrate to Educate. In this short video, we'll dive into a simple explanation comparing and contrasting spirituality and religion with input from experts of religion and spirituality. And if you find this video to be helpful, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Spirituality and religion are two ways people search for meaning and connection in life, but they work in different ways. Think of spirituality as your own inner journey. It's about the personal feelings, experiences, and moments of wonder you have when you connect with nature, art, or simply quiet reflection. This path is flexible and unique to you. It doesn't require following strict rules or being part of a group. For example, someone might start the day with a quiet meditation, take a long walk in the woods to feel more connected to nature, or keep a journal to reflect on life's mysteries. These activities are very much about personal exploration and can change as you grow. Religion, on the other hand, usually comes with a ready-made framework. It offers a set of beliefs, rituals, and traditions that have been passed down through generations. Being religious often means joining a community that shares these common values and practices, like attending church, temple, or mosque services, celebrating traditional holidays such as Christmas, Ramadan, or Diwali, or celebrating in regular prayer and communal rituals. These practices provide clear guidelines and a sense of belonging, which many people find comforting and stabilizing. It's important to remember that these aren't mutually exclusive paths. You can be religious and still have a rich personal spiritual life, or you can explore spirituality outside of any formal religious setting. For example, a person might attend weekly services at their church, which would be embracing religion, and also spend time alone in nature or practice yoga to feel a deeper connection to life, which would be embracing spirituality. Experts like Kenneth Pargament, who has done a lot of research on how people use both religion and spirituality to cope with life's challenges, reminds us that whether you're looking for an established tradition or paving your own unique path, what really matters is finding comfort, meaning, and purpose in your life. Similarly, thinkers like William James have long discussed how our personal experiences, what we feel, and how we interpret them, play a huge role in how we connect with something greater than ourselves. This shows that while religion gives us a communal and organized way to approach life's big questions, spirituality offers a more individualized, flexible approach that can change as you grow. Did you find this video comparing spirituality and religion to be helpful? If so, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Illustrate to Educate to support more simple and objective videos on topics that matter. If
Mm.
Yes, I did find that very helpful. So I will like and follow and subscribe. Good.
That was
That is
helpful.
what it is. So let's dive in to the topic. And actually, I'll monitor our YouTube as well. Peace and blessings. And peace and blessings to everybody in the chat, people who are joining us. Um, yeah, yes, this girl singing. Okay, so shout out to people who are following us on the chat, on the YouTube. I'll keep an eye out so I can engage. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, please, you can mention them in the chat, and it'll be my pleasure to bring them up within the conversation. So, guys, so this is our part two because we did a preliminary the week before. And again, shout out Ibrahim. Ibrahim, amazing event last week. So for those
Thank you.
who wanted to join us last week, we were on site with Brother Ibrahim at his event, and so that's why we carried over so we can all get back here.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yes. It was my pleasure, brother, and it was awesome to be able to connect with you there. And after when we're doing an announcement, we'll get some more info for those who want to find out a little bit more. Okay, so this topic and the video I shared, again, it's a short video, but again, I wanted to show, and what I appreciate about the clip is that despite of what they're showing in terms of practices, so they say, the way they framed it is spirituality is more free, spirituality is more open, so to speak. Religion is a little more structured, but they're not exclusive. Like, so you can be a spiritual person and still have structure, and you can be a religious person and still have freedom. And again, that was the whole point of what we're discussing today, because it's about finding that middle ground in between the two. So first, I'll put it out there. The way I was envisioning we could talk about it is addressing both. So first, starting from understanding what is religion, and understanding what is spirituality from our perspective. And again, we're not claiming to be anything that we're not. We are sharing from our own lived experience. We all have our own spiritual and religious walks, so we could share from that standpoint. But I think it's just for the sake of the conversation. I think it's important to understand context where we're all coming from. So if we could take a quick moment and welcome we have a brother who just joined us, his brother Samuel. Peace and blessings, brother Samuel. Welcome to the conversation. Thank you for being here with us. And anybody who's joining, when you do hit the mic or when you do interject, please just if you're a guest, just remember just introduce yourself so people know who they are. If you are in a situation you can turn on your camera, amazing. So then those on YouTube will be able to chime in and see you as well. So just first putting it out, when we talk religion, from you guys' standpoint, how do you interpret, how do you break down religion, and what is religion from your perspective? Sister Pasha, you can start, and Brother Ivan, you can go.
Okay. So from my
Oh,
perspective,
okay.
Sister's going. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I guess that because I've dealt with both sides of the coin in my life, I understand that religion, it is more structure based, while spirituality has this fluidity to be able to express yourself. And and even, and here's the thing I think people might lose, is that the fact is that when you are a spiritual person, religion is in there as well, right? And so for me, that was something that was very big to understand, because there is fundamental things in religion that when you tie it in, that becomes part of your spiritual life. And so for me, that I am that understanding, like all of that encompass makes you more full. So to me, I look at religion and I understand the structure of where they want to go, but I understand that spirituality came to break the barriers that religion holds, because we're all spiritual beings, and religion is just part of the human experience that we're having.
Hmm. Okay.
So
Thank
I'll
you.
pause right there. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Ibrahim. Your perspective?
Yeah. I try to be as simple-minded as possible, but I guess simplicity sometimes become very complex itself, you know. So
Mm,
yeah, um, when you go to school, you study various subjects. The end goal is to use all that you have acquired to function, to achieve something. So at the point of achieving that thing, everything must come together to function as one. So when you talk about even anything, everything rises up to function at once. So I see when you get to that point of when you get to the point of simplicity, it means that I'm a spirit by nature. So therefore, spirituality must be come to me. It, it is my nature to be. I'm a spirit. So spirituality must come to me naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, to add to what Sister Taj said, the religion is the structure of being that spirit. So when you get to simple mind, you cannot separate one from the other because you are one entity. It's all in the mind. Segregation is in the mind. So this is the chain that we must break. We have to break. For an individual to be sovereign, you must be able to break that distinction between these two things. It's the same thing. So therefore, an individual who is spiritual, may your may your may your may your the ways of spirit be true, and may your ways of spirit be good, and that turns out into a structure which becomes the religion.
Okay.
So
Okay.
mm,
anybody who's written, anybody who's come up with the system, whatever religion you're talking about, has gone through the process of actually being spiritual to
mm-hmm.
be able to come to structure. They were not
Yep,
different from one or the other.
I
So
agree.
if a person wants to achieve something in his or her life, or to be able to connect with him, to form a strong family and a strong society, then everybody must actually know that there's spirit, and the spirit should be free, that is
Mm,
breaking chains, to be able to create
mm,
his own in a good and truthful manner. That's
mm.
it.
Good. Thank you for that. Thank you.
Ooh, love
Um,
that.
so
Love
so
that.
I have I guess I'm taking from a bit of both of you guys from our perspective when it comes to religion. When I think about religion, I do see it as the again like structure. It seems like that seems to be the word that's associated with religion. Um, I am a strong believer that the root prior to the creation of the religion is a sense of spirituality, is a sense of connection between us and the universe, us and the earth itself. What I feel religion, like if I had to compare it, I compare religion to like any kind of system structure, almost like the school system. I think the school system would probably be the best analogy, because I feel like what we get, like, so school has the material to educate us. Like spirituality is the thing to educate us, and religion is the structure. Like school is the structure. Now, um, where we need a level of discernment is because within that structure, people have influence, and I think that's where it creates a little bit of a gray zone, or just an area where people have to try to find that commonality again while we're here, because depending on what school you go to, like it's like whoever influenced and whoever ran that school has their own particular ideology that influenced that school structure. And as a student of that school, now you have adopted that, and so now you cling to, this is my particular, religion, or this is my particular educational structure. But because we have lost sight of the root of that, the fact that the root is all a certain level of spirituality, we're clinging to the house, we're clinging to our religious structures, um, but not going deeper to like even a little bit beyond just what the religious structure is. So it's like, and I think that's what creates a lot of division, and seeing things a little bit differently, is because the fact that we're just looking at the house that we're coming from, we're looking at the religious belief, but not going deeper and understanding the spiritual root. So again, to answer that, like to reiterate my perspective when it comes to religion, it is that religion is really just um, it's like the vehicle that we're using to educate or to educate people on spirituality, but it has a human influence that created a certain structure, and that structure, last thing I'll add to it, some people need that structure and some people don't. um, and there's no problem with needing the structure, because like I feel that the structure is necessary for those who have a desire to connect with certain things spiritually, but don't know which avenue to go with, and they don't trust themselves to just kind of be free and go with the flow, so to speak. So they thrive in a particular religious structure, and they kind of need that. But those who do have a certain level of confidence and have lived a certain life experience and have a different calling and a different, is something else stirring within them, have an ability to kind of transcend the religion in order to fully embrace spirituality. All right, that's my view. And yes, brother Samuel, your hand is up. Welcome to the conversation. Please introduce yourself and please share your
Hi
perspective.
everybody, hi brother. I'm really really happy to be able to support him to the conversation. I'm going to try to do most of it in English. I might put some French inside of it. Samuel Laguerre, I'm a Vaudouisan. I was brought up Christian. I still pay value to Christian values as they were part of my inner child of me growing up. But I've diverted toward ancestral spirituality. So I went through various initiatic school, kinetic school, Dogon school, Vaudouisan in our family. I went to Benin also to learn a bit from the initiate there. And this has allowed me to get a bit of photosynthesis. So I'm really happy that we were able to because we already have straightened up the fundamental element that there is structure. And what is religion usually is structure. But as we are African, for us, the the polarity between structure and unstructuredness is not part of our paradigm, which means that this problem that we have of having to confront religion and spirituality is something that we have imported from. We must be able to work within a paradigm that is not our own. So us, as soon as we realize that religion and spirituality are a continuity because it must have structure, and as soon as you sublime structure to have a fluidity, which equates to life, then you at some point you will have to be back to a point of simplicity. So they cannot be, they must not be, at least within our communities, this perpetual confrontation between religion and spirituality, as there a continuity within the cycle that's just going to steer back, that's going to steer back on itself at some point. So we need to create this harmony, and I think that this harmony is going to come with a better positioning of within the relationship that each have with one another.
Woo! Brother,
Wow.
very well
Okay.
said. That was heavy. Very, very well said.
Drop the damn mic. Okay.
I don't think you could have said any better, because it just basically, in other words, it's one and the same.
It's one and the same.
It's just a different part of the cycle, which is, that's why I felt it was so important to have this conversation, just because it's like it erupts. Like when people discuss spirituality and religion, it becomes a fight. It becomes whose is better than the other, and that's what creates a division. But if we look at the bigger picture, we should never fight against these things. It's just that we come at a different point in the journey.
So why would we challenge each other and be like, well, just because I'm at this point and you're at this point, I'm at a better point than you, or you're at a better. It's like it makes absolutely no sense. So thank you so much for bringing that perspective.
And I just want to add a little something on top of that is that if I'm an Asian believer, so we don't practice Ifa, but I wanted to study Ifa because it has a certain realm of universality within our twist of religion. And Ifa has an answer for this actually. It says that when you have a generation, you have the first generation, the second generation, which equates to what they call energy, or the first emanation of life. Then you have this reflection in Yekumich. So these two generations are linked as twins. Then you have the third generation. The third generation is Irori Neji, which equates to fire. And this fire is within which you start to separate that which is from you and that which is from the lineage. So when you get into the fourth, which equates to the earth element energy, you start to organize what has been kept from the ancestral line, but that applies to the actual reality now. So that's where religion is seated. Then after that, there's another sequence of propagation because you have to get out of the cycle of the first four elements. But they are required for any stable structure or implementation. And us, in fact, they say each generation could equate to a vibration that lasts 100 years. So let's say us, we've been here in the Americas for about 300 years, which means we are in this phase of what do we keep and what do we leave behind. And usually religion is the place where a lot of the unique elements that are important for memory have been kept. Me, I'm a Pan-African, I'm a Voodooist, I'm a traditionalist, but I can see also the flaw within like my spectrum. And sometimes just to say no more Christian, no more Jesus, we bash on a lot of things that pertains to memory. And within our tradition, memory has to be kept. So when we understand that, we start to diffuse the constant fight and frustration between traditionalists and Christian within our society, within our circle, because within our circle, it must make, if history was not this way, it would have been another way. But as of how we are now, the Christian circle are des bassins de mémoire. They keep a lot of the memory of what has happened. And for guérison, for healing, for rightful thinking, this is required. So as soon as we understand this, both on the side of Christians and both on the side of those that say they have went on the traditional path, but traditional path is always an extent of the lineage. And whether we like it or not, we have ancestors that have been Christians. So you're gonna fight the ancestor that you dropped water for because no, this is mental construct.
That part right there.
The working of the blood.
Right there.
So yeah.
Wow, Samuel, thank you.
Hey, Rachel.
Again, thank you for coming and
Rich Rising, you guys.
From your perspective, your lived experience, and for the things that you study. So thank you for sharing with us who have not had that opportunity. So thank you for that. So, did anybody, Taj or Ivan, do you guys want to chime in anything before we continue in the conversation?
Well,
sure. Yeah.
We just stepping on each other's toes today, huh? We just like, yeah, me.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you when, you speak about the encompassment. We have to understand, and I think as I was listening to him speaking, what was coming to my mind and the message that kept on coming to me is, well, I'm omnipresent, Taja. I'm omnipresent. So yes, I might jump into the Christian hat. I might jump into the Muslim hat. I might jump into the atheist hat. But the one thing, and the thing that I keep being reminded is that we are spiritual beings. We are the spirit. And so all we're doing is having different expressions of that journey, of saying, okay, well, if I do it this way, am I going to still feel fulfilled? Am I still going to have that peace, that happy life that I was meant to have? If I do it this way, am I going to be pushing against? Am I going to be under too many parameters? Right? Because this is why you went from, they talked about people getting baptized in running water compared to people getting baptized in still water, compared to people getting baptized down by the beach. It's all water. It's all baptism. And yet, for some reason, there has to be a differentiation because we within ourselves have to feel a sense of division. It brings me back to when they talk about the Tower of Babel, and they talked about the fact that it was broken down, and then we were separated by language. We ended up becoming very separated because we were. It was in a sense we were coming together, but it was almost like we were coming together to eradicate instead of coming together for understanding. And if you look at what humans are doing right now, we are now once again coming back together to eradicate. And this is where now spirituality and the spirit is coming back in, and it's like, hey, hello, guys, there you guys go again. You know, you guys keep forgetting that you're spiritual beings. You keep forgetting that you're the great I am. You keep forgetting you're the creators of this planet. And you keep trying to find different extensions to bring you back to that place. But I just need you to remember from the beginning. I just need you not to get lost. And this is where the energy of religion now, for me, has come and has taken over that paradigm so that a lot more people get confused and get lost because now it comes down to something that I can sell. See, it brings back down to the monetary thing. But if we keep it in the context of what all of it was created for, it was created for us to unify, to see our differences within each other and bring it together because we're all saying the same thing. We just might be saying it in different languages.
Oh, well said.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Iban. Go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sister Taj. Thank you. I don't know our gentle friend that spoke. Thank you too very much. His name. Thank you very much. So,
Samuel.
thank you very much, Brother Samuel. Thank you for your talks. So again, I'm a simple man, and I try to keep things very simple. See, every spirit has a function,
Mm-hmm.
and the functionality of the spirit is what creates the structure. Now, the function behind, we don't know. When you see the system in which we find ourselves today, you don't know the function. There's a function behind that system, the target, the goal, the objective. That's a different story. So it is called his story, not by mistake. It's his story. So, like our brother said, we're existing in his story, in
Yep.
his story. So how can you find it? How can we find ourselves on a street, on the wrong street, and we're looking for the right address? It's never gonna happen. You see? So bringing it back, like you have your home, I have my home. Just everything I say is spiritual, but I use little analogies to explain something. So everybody's got a home. So hopefully, you don't leave your home to go stay in somebody's home. You might visit, but you got to come back home.
Yep.
So we as African people, we don't our home is destroyed. We don't have a home because we're living in other people's homes. It's okay to study people's whatever it is, religion or whatever structure it is. It's okay to study what they do and pick up whatever you want to pick up or don't if you don't want to pick up. But remember, you must come back home. And where is home? Home is pure spirituality for good and for unity, truth and good. So that is where home is. That's what we don't have. So to the ability to the ability to understand that we are spirit people and we can connect directly to our environment.
Mm.
So that is where we stay. And then from a truth and a good perspective, the end goal of any spirituality or religion coming from a godly, heavenly, godly perspective must be unity.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter how you slice the
Yep.
cake, whatever a person
You got to
is,
bring it
whatever a person
together.
want to do, the function, the structure, the end goal
Yep.
must be unity. If it is not
If it's
unity
not unity, you're done.
and truth, then better run away from it because
Yep.
a person will never find themselves in such a thing.
No.
So let me throw in another line for us to reflect on here because and going off of what you just said there, how we each seem to have our own truths it seems like we have our own perspective of what is our truth. And right now, what we're dealing with, a lot of times when I'm connecting with individuals in our community, if we're talking about right now, this day and age, a lot of people are going through it, right? In some kind of way. There's a level of struggle,
There's a level of going through it, yes.
And I do actually believe it's even part of our spiritual journey. Like
it
we
is.
need actually a certain level of and contrast to create evolution. So it's almost expected. But what I'm realizing is that we each have a different way of dealing with depression. And those who are a little bit more, those who feel more comfortable spiritually, will say that they're trusting in the God that they are. They're trusting the God inside of them. They're trusting that, that entity, so to speak. And those who are more religious based are believing more in Jesus and giving it to Jesus, so to speak. And they're saying, and again, using Christianity as the example, it could be a lot, it could be whatever. But the whole point is they themselves aren't claiming it, aren't saying that they have the strength to do what they need. They're saying that they actually trust Jesus. Now, all of us here, we've been blessed with a certain journey that has enabled us to go through Christianity, so we understand why it is easier and more reassuring to give it to Jesus. My question for us and for those who are participating, and I would love if there's any like active Christians who are participating and want to join us in the conversation, I'd love to have you guys come and chime in if you can. But my question is, how do we find that middle if we are like let's say we're in one room, so to speak, and we're all saying, okay, we're looking, we want the best for everybody in this room. But from my perspective, the best for everyone in this room is to cling to the God that we are and trust that we're going to make things happen visually and mentally and speak it into existence. And then, but then in the same room with my other brothers and sisters, okay, brother Ibrahim, I see you, so I'll let you chime in. But now, with my same brothers and sisters we're in one room. They're like, nah, don't, they don't believe that we have the ability inside of, and they prefer to give it to Jesus and just wait and see what happens. How do we
Thank you, baby.
coexist? But that's the point of this exercise is to figure out how can we coexist. Is it possible to coexist? Is it so that
yes.
I'm putting it out there. We might not have all the answers, but this is why we're here to have this dialogue.
Ooh, I got something for you.
Yes, I just wanted to add to what you're saying. I've read and I've listened to many prophets and many religions. I've seen it. That's from a religious perspective. For me personally, when people talk about Jesus, when people talk about Jesus, they're seeing something outside of themselves.
Yes. Yes.
Jesus is not a color. Jesus is the only prophet for me. For me, he's not a color. He's not an image. He's none of those things.
No.
Jesus is the man in the mind that knows that all power in heaven and on earth has been given unto this. That is the knowledge, the remembrance of who we are.
Yes.
That is what Jesus is, which is our story. Our story. Like, Jesus is unity and Jesus is love.
Yep.
And that's the only command that matters. Like, when if you really want to achieve mental liberation, that is, it's not placing the responsibility on something outside of oneself. It is actually knowing that we rise to the point where we understand that I am the mind that I am in the spirit. I am the son of the Father, and I can do greater things here on earth. That is Jesus.
Yep.
It's not a church where you go to pray or something where you go to locate. So I'm saying this from my own personal experience. I know everybody's got their difference. And we spoke about today's pressure of daily lives.
Right, yeah.
A person who's striving to be the mind, the mind who understands that the power from above and below has been given to him or herself to actually write their story, understands the design of today's pressure. Because the design of today's pressure is not just by random pick. It is designed actually to bang continuously at the core, so that the core will run away from itself. That is the design by structure, by the law of God. If you look at the law of the Almighty God, as I see it, the trees multiply after itself year in, year out. The goat produce goat year in, year out. Everything is in God's dimension is meant to produce. You see, like ongoing. So therefore, today's pressure, what it does, it gives a mentality of lack, scarcity, and all fears of tomorrow, the pains from the past, the uncertainty of the present, which leads to obscuring visions and all those things. And we have vision and we're creating. So what I'm trying to say in essence is that when we bring it together, it's a design. The power is to occupy the spotlight, your spotlight, and be strong enough. And if one person cannot do it, if you listen to the song that was sung today, it says like, how do you break the roots that cannot be broken? You don't break them. You just make them understand that they're different. You don't break the roots because you cannot break it. You just make them psychologically think that they're different from each other. So in that sense, you've broken them. So how can you deceive a spirit? By looking the black community, we don't love ourselves in the mirror. So they have successfully kind of stolen our sense of ourselves. So until we understand that, for me, again, personally, Jesus brings me back not into image. I got the message, not the messenger. I got the message and not the messenger. So if the message that anybody is listening to, behind it is not unity and truth and faith, and truly actually execute that in daily lives, then there's no way. And that's what we face today. That understanding. Yeah.
Well said. Thank you, my brother. Thank you. Yeah. Sister Taja, you coming off mute? You want to jump in?
Oh my God, I was screaming in my seat right now. As it says like this conversation is giving me downloads and epiphanies as we're having it right now. In my morning session that we do, I came across the archangels. Right now, in basically every text, they spoke about angels, right? But they never really gave any full connotation on it. But the other day we were reading up, and one of the archangels is called Suriel. And Suriel helps you to feel the balance and beauty of the universe and remind you, and this is the key here, and remind you that you are part of that wonderful system of perfection. See, what has happened to us is that we have lost our sense of who we are as perfect beings. And you see, I put the air quotes up because somebody would rush right at me and say, but nobody's perfect. But if you even spell the words imperfect, it's still I'm perfect. So in all of your imperfections, and this is where for me I feel like religion has come along, because in a place that someone may have felt an imperfection, a belonging or a not belonging, where they felt a camaraderie or they felt isolated, or you understand what I'm saying? It's something that we've now taken, and instead of continuing in the system of perfection that we are, and looking at ourselves and looking at the individual self, right? Because this is where, if we bring it into the religious sense, this is what Jesus came to tell us. This is what Moses came to tell us. This is what Muhammad came to tell us. This is what Buddha came to tell us. All the deities of the religions still came to tell us that we are one with this source. And as long as we stay one with the source, then we will see our perfection. Then we will see that flow, that omnipresent, that not only is flowing in us, but is us. It's not just flowing in. You understand what I'm saying? It's flowing through you and you, is you. It is every essence. And so when we put ourselves back into a place of understanding that even in the words that's supposed to take us away from our perfection, take us away from who we are, we're still telling ourselves that we're perfect, right? Like with disability, you mess around and you talk about, oh, I got a disability, I got a disability. Guess what? That disability is the fact that you're not using this ability anymore. You're not utilizing your ability to love anymore. So of course you're going to be having a disability because you're not utilizing that thing anymore. So even the words that we contribute, even the energy that we contribute to the things that have pulled us apart, is still reminding us that when you're disabled is because you still got the abilities. You just got to start using it again. When you call yourself imperfect, you're not imperfect. You're still perfect, but you just took the A out and stop reminding yourself that I am perfect, and you stop utilizing those words that activate your spirit for real. So in all of that essence, it's just for us to remember that we were made in a wonderful system of perfection. And when we can allow ourselves, no matter what your ideals are, when you could just accept that there's nothing else to change in you, through you, and as you, except to love you, then we won't have any more of these issues. Thank you.
Well said. Brother Samuel, I see your hand. So just first just reminding everybody what the topic of the conversation is today. So we're discussing religion and spirituality. How can we work and build together as a community despite our religious or spiritual beliefs? So so we are dialoguing the conversation. Everybody's sharing their perspective. And I see we're just being blessed with another guest who's joining us, our brother Ike Ibra. Welcome. Thank you for being with us today, brother. So you can listen as you hear something you want to chime in. Just put up your hand or unmute, and you'll be able to jump in. And please, once you start, just introduce yourself to people. Brother Sam, I saw your hand up. I don't know if you wanted to ask a question or
Yeah.
put in a comment, but then I have
Actually,
like three things I want to say after. Go ahead.
Actually, I'll try to be brief because I know we're short on time. I wanted to write word, but top up on top of what was being said before, and it's because we are those in the room right now. It seems the project that we have some form of advancement in spirituality, which is a good thing. But within our community, there is a gap that we must make sure that we fill in. That most people that are deeply interested in spirituality, we get closer to let's God per se, and we understand the perspective of the architect. You know, the way the other people say the architect. We have another way of saying this, but at the end, it's pretty much the function of an architect, and you get closer to that. Know thyself, know thyself, know thyself. But then, when you know thyself, there's a gap in knowing the community, and we have to lower ourselves to mindset of the builder, of the engineer that's going to have to deploy the harmonization that the architect has imagined. And this is the tricky part in our community. I don't know if it is the solution, but one of the propositions that I have is that we make sure that we understand how do all of these purpose of religion, of expression of life, of spirituality, are how do they positively relate to one another? For example, me, I'm a Judaism, and in the specific line that I follow, they preach that we must remove everything that regards to Christianity. We must burn it. This is the line that we have. At the same time, they say family is important. When I go to family, most of my family is still Christian. The person that has the most important in my life and that has the most spiritual importance in your life, which is your mother. My mom is deeply Christian, so I have to fix this conflict within me. I have the architect of the principle, but how do this unfold? And to reflect this in the community, we must know what we represent one another. Because let's say the Christian gonna see a bit of a demon inside of the Vaudouisan. The Vaudouisan is gonna easily see a lot of critiques, but the Vaudouisan has flaw. I mean, I love our line, but we still have some flaws sometimes that we don't necessarily use the things that we know necessarily the best fashion. So all of us, we bring something to one another, and in a community, these are called positioning. how do each of these position, and then we can start to perceive them as current within the community. Right? As soon as we can perceive them like this, as having a relationship with one another as collective current, then we can say, okay, the Christian have this, they already mastered this within our community. How can this relate to what, let's say, the Shango practitioner are doing, the Ifa practitioner are doing, the Buddhism practitioner are doing, the Kemetic are doing, and then without having to question what is truth, what is spirituality, what is God for one another. On the operational level, we can start to align ourselves, to align our goals. And if we focus on this part, the builder, the architect part of what the architect has projected, then I think we're gonna have the frame to fix a lot of problems within our community. Just with simple, just with this frame, I think we're good. Yeah.
Brother, thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, I'll add something, and then Brother Ibrahim, I see your hand up, and because what you just said was what was percolating in my spirit, because it's what I'm grasping, at least from this side of the conversation, and I had reached out to a couple of our like theologians, like basically our Bible scholars. I tried to reach out to a couple of them to join us today because I wanted their perspective as well, but I'll do my best to try to speak from various perspectives. But one of the things that I'm understanding, and I feel it's in line with what Brother Samuel was just saying, is that when you get to a certain point consciously, you see yourself closer to God. You understand that you are God with a little g, so to speak. That you understand that the same essence. You understand the story where Jesus came and said he came to set an example and show that we are God in human form. Like we are embodying that. But now those who aren't there yet, right? And again, it's call it a certain trial and error, call it a certain evolution, spiritually and physically, whatever you call it, but you do get to a certain point where you're like, you have a heightened sense of understanding. I'm wondering if that story that they gave where, and again, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I'm remembering, when they were crucifying Jesus, he was still saying, forgive them for they know not what
they do. That's
so
right.
Despite
That's right.
the energy that they were coming with and what they were, because of his heightened sense of understanding, he was still able to say, I love them anyways and forgive them. They don't get it. And he's willing to even just give up his physical life because he's like, like there's more. I know there's way more to this, and this is just, I'm here to set an example and do something. So now I'm wondering if that is a part of our journey, so to speak, as those who are more spiritually inclined to understand that we actually have to have a certain level of understanding when it comes because just from some of our recent engagement, we do see that a lot of the unfortunately negative comments or attacks come from those who are more religious based.
Yeah.
Kind of going against what our spiritual beliefs are, and it comes kind of aggressive. It becomes kind of hard, and what ends up
comes rough.
We kind of slip into more of our human nature, and we defend ourselves, and we kick back. And but technically, if we are really going through our spiritual journey, we should be able to understand where they're coming from, understand that they are at a certain point in their evolution. They're not fully there yet, and like all they can do right now is attack or fight or defend because they feel like they're under attack in some kind of way, so they're defending themselves. But if we are really tapping into our spirituality, we should be able to understand where they're coming from, give them love anyways, and and still be able to try to find that middle ground. Again, I'm just kind of throwing it out there, somewhat playing a little bit of the devil's advocate. No pun intended, whatever. But yes, brother Ibrahim, you could chime in.
Yeah, it's simple. Like talking about us as a black community. You see, to get to God, one has to carry his or her cross, and that's what most people run away from because it's a kind of responsibility to carry one's cross, whatever path or whatever experience you're going through, to carry the cross. And because that's the only way. People are afraid of the unknown and they hold on to just the known. They find their security in the known. So tap into spirituality is to go into to dare to be courageous enough to let go of one and fall into your spirit. And then talking of us, when we ascend to understand and realize and remember that we are God's children, the children of the Most High, then the path of spirituality becomes the eyes. So the eyes are open but cannot see. The heart are closed, so they cannot unite. You know? So this is the spell. You know, the spell is not the words or the constructs that we make from the word. It's energy. So when the person like break it down, there's no shortcut to God. So it's not gonna fall from the sky and come and save people and do stuff. That's just it's abstract thinking. It's away from self. You know. So carrying the cross is understanding that when you get to understand God, that when you come to the realization that we are children of God, it's not that we are comparing ourselves, shouldn't be comparing ourselves that we created everything. It's just the consciousness to know and see the creation of God. And from a holistic spiritual point, celebrate the creation of God. That's God's children. So if we as a community begin to celebrate the creation of God, which is you get up in the morning, you thank God for the air you breathe. It doesn't matter what's happening. You thank God for waking up this morning. You thank God for the little food you have in the morning. You thank God for the child you see on the street that's going to school. You thank God for the mom you see that's going to work. You thank God for people around you. Then that is the children of God. And that is our healing point. That is the only way to heal. Nobody can put it to end. Nobody can enforce it or just make a miracle and clear the head of all the things we've seen. These are people creating. That is how we begin to create our own experience. We begin to create in this. So we must start as a community, individually, carry our own cross. There's no shortcut to God. Carry the cross of being good and carry the cross of appreciating your environment. Truthfully, doesn't matter, irrespective of what's
That's
going
right,
on.
General.
Find
Right
the
from your
energy
head to your
look for
heart.
the
Yeah.
good that God has created to draw you closer to yourself and to understand what you are part of. Nature.
Yes.
Well said. I had put in my hand something quickly to add, and also so our brothers,
Sorry about that, I didn't see that. Yeah.
And can you? Hey, welcome, brother TD. I didn't see you there before. David, here, welcome, welcome. So and also just so you guys know, fait, comme des choses s'il vous plaît, je ne veux pas si nécessaire, vous pouvez vous exprimer en français si vous êtes plus à l'aise. So you guys, I just want to make sure you guys are comfortable. Please express yourself in the language of your choice. If you are more comfortable expressing yourself in French, if necessary, we could always translate if it's heavy, but we're all spirit here, so you know there's a level of understanding that we all have. So I just want to make sure you guys feel comfortable to chime in as needed. But I just want to give a 2 cents off of what Ibrahim was just saying because I remember having a conversation with my older brother, and he helped to give me a perspective where I used to always use the example of we are God, and I use the example of the ocean and the glass, right? And I think a lot of us have heard that same analogy where God is the ocean, we are a glass of the same ocean water, so to speak. So it's like if whatever that essence is that's in this ocean is the same essence that's in this glass, so we're one and the same. So I think that is a very clear analogy to understand what we mean when we say we're God. So we're not saying that we are the ocean, but we're definitely saying that we have the essence.
We have the essence of the ocean. Yes.
Now, one of the things that was an aha for me, because I used to debate the fact that you like basically that we are this. We do have to understand that in that glass, we do not have the same power as the ocean. So that is one thing that
because it's cut off
for us to understand. We have enough for like we have the power that we should have for this container. God's not going to give us more power than we need. We're not going to try to force an ocean into this glass because we bust the glass. Technically, if you think about it, right? So we are God in our human form, but now where it becomes a challenge is that in our understanding that we are God in human form, we are living our experience on this planet. We understand that we are here to enjoy this planet, enjoy this experience, evolve in this experience, connect with each other. We're seeing God in each other, and we're seeing God in everything. But now again, our brothers and sisters who are of more of a religious belief, they're actually looking for heaven after here. Now that is also creating a bit of a different perspective, right? I'm not too sure exactly how we find that middle ground. And again, that's why we're here to dialogue and share perspectives, and with the hopes of finding a middle ground. Because what we want for them, we want them to experience all that we are. We're like, yo, life is awesome. You can create, you can manifest, you can enjoy your challenges, and trust that the spirit is going to evolve you, etc., etc. But
Yes.
a lot of them are pretty content with just kind of holding it down, holding their breath until either Jesus returns or until they transcend and go to heaven, right? Therefore, somewhat missing the mark. So I'm putting it out there as something else for us to ponder and see if there's a way we can find a middle ground. Brother Ikika, the floor is yours. Raise your hand and please feel free to introduce yourself and give a little bit of your background, and then you can go ahead.
Yeah, hello. My name is Keriva Bumatem. So I'm with my brother here, Tenu, and we are being initiated in Kemetic traditions, coming from the Gogu, so the river Niger River basin, and specifically the Dogons. The people called Dogons. So we have been blessed to have met them. They actually did a really beautiful gesture to come to see us, because naturally it's the other way around. We go to the bush to meet them, and they have kind of a way to agree whether they want to share the mysteries and their knowledge. So my brother and I went to mystery schools here in Quebec, Canada, and it's usually a long period of time where we deconstruct most of the things that we have learned, because of the fact that we are not the first that came here on this earth. A lot of things happened before us, not only as a person, but also as a people, and also as a species. Referring to God as entities that would act or react as human beings is downgrading them. And therefore, it's important to keep in mind that we're talking about forces that are responsible of the balance and the harmony of the universe, the whole universe. So from the biggest thing that you can imagine to the smallest one. So right, if you look at atoms, why don't why don't you have atomic explosions all the time? Why does it? Why are
That
our
part.
tissues and organs are keep functioning right? So they are responsible of such a things that allow us to be here, existing, being alive, and breathing. So we had to deconstruct all of that from the start, and by deconstructing, you need to go through kind of a step towards history, and the way our teachers tell it in initiation is that you don't know the knowledge unless you know the history that was brought before that knowledge. Right? So you need to know everything that brought that history up until you, for naming such a thing like God, who started it, what's the story behind it. So we, just out of respect of being the kind of heirs of the culture, we understand that we are sitting or living inside of the Western culture that has sources in Greco-Latin and let's say Christian thoughts and way of seeing things, and they didn't start everything. They weren't there when the gods existed. So that's one of the biggest points that we kind of have to unlearn. So that being said, uh, uh, how do we kind of know how to build a community through our basic, I would say, belief or understanding of nature, and more deeply our human nature. So, who are we? What are we meant to do? And also, is there something after death, or even do we come from somewhere else? Like before coming here as a child, was there a life before that? So all of these questions are called the mysteries, but they're actually existential questions. All right, and those are the existential questions that are prevalent, existent throughout the world. You name a country, they have the same existential questions, and within those questions, they are able to put the work or the hand of God in a certain place. Right. What I wanted to say, also include before starting my petite intervention, is that uh, knowing that human beings are not necessarily stable because of not knowing stuff, such important stuff, just as who I am, who am I. A group of people tend to see it as an opportunity just to uh, look at us as batteries or energies that can be used for their own interests.
Yeah.
And they just try to the only thing they have to say is basically this, death is real, and I'm gonna prevent you from death
That's about
as
all
long
you
as you
got
do
right there.
this, and that.
Right.
And they have built a whole system behind that. So that's one of the things that also comes as a lesson in history. Um, we need to know that most of things that we call religion have also a political agenda, and within that political agenda, it's really meant for us to be uh, kept as slaves, not necessarily as slaves of what we do or what we believe in, but really as understanding what we are here, what we're doing here, what we're meant for, and who we are. Basic, basic knowledge of who we are. So,
Thank you. Yeah.
that's one the thing that I wanted to say.
Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. And okay, we got all kind of hands. So you drop all. I have something to say. Samuel, as well as Ibrahim, have something we want to add. So first off, I'm going to challenge it a little bit, right? And again, I'm challenging. I'm not because I'm opposed to what you're saying, because I definitely understand and resonate with where you're coming from, but for the sake of the topic of the conversation, right? Now, in again, just pulling back from when I was coming up in religion, so to speak, we're actually there's a part of the teaching that we're taught to not question too many things. Like we're actually conditioned and taught
Don't
to just
question.
almost like trust and believe without questioning. Now,
Yep.
we have gone to a certain point in our journey because we question. Now, again, with our goal of trying to figure out that middle ground, how do we create a comfortable middle ground, understanding that some of our brothers and sisters do not want to question anything, and the fact that we talk about questioning things and learning things from these questions, it creates a conflict or contrast. All right, I'm going to put that out there. We might not have the answer. Yeah, I'm just putting things out, but I want us to think about it from both perspectives, because we're talking from ours, and for our perspective, it's logical. Like, and especially even looking back as far as like their teaching, you're coming from the Dogons, who were some of the originators, if not the originators on the planet, who were able to dissect things on a level between them and the families in the stars and the skies, and so we have some root history there, but we're also dealing with some brothers and sisters that won't even go that route and aren't even interested in going that deep because of their conditioning. But our overall goal is for us to live as one. All right, so that's just I want to plant that seed for us to try to ponder on that. Brother Samuel, you had a question at Ibrahim, and then we can go back to you guys.
Oui, c'est pas exactement une question, mais c'est juste que je veux rebondir un peu sur ce qui a été dit par le frère M. Dedon. C'est, comment je peux dire ça? Des fois, ça aide d'avoir un contexte pour opérationnaliser les choses. Dans le sens que les vérités initiatiques, c'est quelque chose de sensible parce que leurs racines sont extrêmement profondes. Et les gens qu'on veut tuer ne sont pas nécessairement au niveau de là où ces racines se sont implantées. Mais il y a quelque chose de super intéressant de ce qu'il venait de dire, ça a bien monté dans la tête quand Donatien m'a parlé, c'est que très souvent les gens oublient ce qui était là avant ce qui était. Puis, ce que ça a résonné dans ma tête, parce que j'essaie de voir comment on met ça en séquence, parce que qui dit séquence, on peut opérationnaliser ça, qui on dit opérationnaliser, on peut créer des systèmes par rapport à ça. Et dans le fond, cet état initial-là, c'est plus ou moins un zéro. Les gens qui vont te parler de religion, tu ne peux pas vraiment parler de religion sans parler de Trinité. Puis, ce qui se cache derrière cette notion de Trinité-là, c'est un aspect structurant de la vie. Ce qui veut dire qu'ils sont au moins cette étape-là. Même s'ils ne connaissent pas le zéro, l'émanation, cette chose-là, on peut assurer qu'il y a une certaine forme de d'assimilation de ce que les choses devraient être. On a conscience qu'ils ne vont pas passer, ça j'ai emprunté un peu des termes cabalistiques, les vrais initiés n'utilisent pas cette approche-là, mais ça aide. Donc, quand on parle de dimension, c'est pas la première dimension, c'est qu'on va avoir une quatrième, après ça, tu as la cinquième qui est celle de l'homme. Mais là où est-ce que les initiés voient le vrai problème, c'est que tu pousses ces dimensions-là jusqu'à où. Si tu arrives à un 10, on réduit tout ça, mais tu reviens encore à ton premier. Donc la seule manière de donner un sens à tous ces cycles-là, toutes ces réincarnations-là, c'est de comprendre ton zéro, et en mathématiques, c'est ce qui va donner la direction à un vecteur. Quelles que soient les forces qui interagissent gauche, droite, en haut, en bas et tout, on peut tous les réduire à un vecteur pour les opérationnaliser. Et ce qui donne la direction, l'angle et l'amplitude de ce vecteur-là, c'est ce qui est dans le zéro. Mais même si les gens de communauté qui sont concernés, même si eux ont décidé de ne pas se réappliquer intellectuellement, même initiativement, le zéro, ils se sont expulsés du zéro aussi. Comme nous, ils font en sorte qu'ils sont obligés de suivre les autres. Si on bâtit nos structures autour du fait qu'ils vont devoir, qu'ils le veuillent ou non, suivre ces lignes-là parce que leur ligne de réincarnation les suit, eh bien, on peut comme ça attention à certaines structures. Tu sais, exemple, moi, je me suis intéressé à des aspects très opérationnels et je suis content que nos frères de gens soient là parce que j'en ai sorti dans ça, c'est les soins énergétiques. Beaucoup des maladies qu'on a ici en Occident, c'est pas des vraies maladies. Comme il y a beaucoup de types de conditionnement de blocage énergétique qui créent un désordre dans notre corps, mais ce désordre-là est en relation avec notre relation avec l'écosystème. Donc, si on est capable de transcender ça, c'est une autre optique qu'on peut remettre pour opérationnaliser. Ok, là, le communautaire a besoin de guérir. Ça, c'est notre point. On peut amener nos experts sans on dit souvent, là, si tu n'as pas quelque chose à amener aux morts, donc on ne réveille pas les morts. Mais des fois, tu as quelque chose à amener aux morts, mais il est encore allergique. Il est encore allergique à ce que tu vas lui apporter. Même si c'est médicament. You know?
So, and sorry, brother, sorry, and sorry for cutting you because I want to translate what you're saying. Like it's very, well, mind you, you can translate as well because you can communicate in English too. But it's just like the essence of what you're saying. Actually, if you don't mind, just repeating the essence of what you're saying because the beginning I got down because what you said, which was really profound, is that those who are initiated, like our brothers Tinu and Tikariba, their roots are super deep, right? Because they went through an entire process to become initiated, so that their understanding and their experience is way more profound than the average individual, right? Or even like and worse yet for those who are a little more religious who don't dig at much at all. Right? So now with their profound roots system, how are they communicating with those who have very superficial? And again, I say superficial for lack of a better term, and it's not to discredit or to put down anybody else's religious journey. But it is just to say, like, you know, how does an individual who has a profound understanding, a deep-rooted understanding of particular things, find a middle ground and connect with those who do not. And then you also mentioned a part concerning energy and frequency when it comes to us as a people. Right now, we're suffering from things because there's a lack of understanding of what is causing sicknesses. A lot of the roots things again is more frequency, it's more energy wise. So that was the last two parts that I those are the two main things that I got from what you said. I hope I reacted.
I just want to give a concrete example because you know I know the example, you know, and about a month ago, because I started to work in a job where it's it's a tough one. You know, so it's
Wait,
definitely.
sorry, brother. I don't know what happened, but your screen turned sideways. Now
Yeah,
I'm seeing-
actually, that's the thing. I'm trying to, because you on your end you switch, so I have to switch my phone and
Really? I didn't realize I switched. Well, I didn't move.
well, maybe it's me. I'm not that smart or something.
Okay, sorry for cutting it.
I was
Go ahead.
when I was telling you, I was like this.
Okay, and there, so
yeah.
I'll let you go then, brother Ibrahim. I see your hand is up.
Yeah.
I see Taj's hand is up, and I see
Yeah.
so we'll do our tone attack. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So because of the environment of the work that I work in, I started to smoke for some reason, you know. And my breath started to become like really bad, and I tried everything. I tried really like everything, nothing could really help. And I bought a little herb from the herb center, like I think it's brain transfer, and instantly it worked, like more than a lot of it. But at the same time, I'm a metaphysician. I know that it's not just because it's an herb; it has been ritualized. There's a vibration that is associated to it. I'm also an initiate, so this part of the vibration that I have that needs a resonance with spiritual matter. But the person that's gonna come to the earth center, they're just gonna say, "Well, I have a headache, I have a blocked nose." You're not gonna understand maybe that this earth, there's a vibration, and this vibration is with your life connected to a dimension of spirit, and this has healing properties. Not because it's magical, but because it knows how to connect yourself with yourself. You know, so there's, in business terms, there's a depth of value that cannot be really conveyed to people because they're just not gonna understand the depth, the science behind why it works. You know, but if we can build certain things around this, our community can start to grasp more, even more youth that are, let's say, Christian, because they're gonna be the ones that most probably gonna need them like the most. So if we can keep this mindset, okay, they're there, but it's not a separation of distance. It's a rhythm, it's a flow that we need to know how to implement, how do I don't know how to say it. Keep on talking about stuff about this. How do we make it vibrate so that it can densify? You know, so that's the path that those that are on the like we need to take and to understand even more for Christians, it's not their fault. There's a spiritual mechanism that protects somebody that is from a spiritual line. So when you talk with a Christian and it doesn't, like you see, he's rational. It's not because he's irrational. There's always a reason. There's always a rationale, a link to something. And all of them, they have something that protects the paradigm. And it's not. So if it protects the paradigm and they are from the paradigm, it protects them. So we need to understand that, just not try to, because I'm a voodoo user. Sometimes
so you can't rip it off. Yeah, so you can't rip off the bandit before it's too soon. So okay, sorry for cutting you, but I just want to make sure everybody gets to speak before we have to wrap. We have about 15 minutes or so, so I just want to make sure we all are able to share our points. So thank you for that, brother. Very profound. Ibrahim, I'll let you go, and then we'll go back to Itriva, and then Sister Taj, you're up. Good? Okay.
Right. Yeah. Mike, it's already 2:30. Wow.
I know, right? Tell me about it. That's it.
It flew like it flew. So on my part, I will wrap this up just like this. However ways you slice the cake, what a person seek you shall find, knock, the door will be open, and if you ask, it shall be given. What do we seek? This life. I'm not seeking to try to explain somebody else's religion. I'm not seeking to try to explain why it's not working. I get it. There are different levels of people. It's made easier, you know?
That's right, SGI.
Unity. I seek unity.
That's right.
And I seek peace. And I seek joy and prosperity and the intelligence of making a better community and better world. That is my religion. That guides me. One. So to answer, like most people don't understand, you have to carry a cross to get to know who you are. So answer the question, why am I here? Where have I come from? I have come from the God, the Heavenly Father. Why have I come here? I have come here to be a connecting point, to help my brothers and my sisters to learn and to grow, prosper in all forms of life. and that's my function. And where am I going? I'm going back without anything, with the fulfillment of the spirit here in this experience, back home where I came from, the ultimate. These are the 4 questions there. So now it is easier to lean to his story. It clearly states his story because it's difficult to write one's own story. Everybody is pushing to history, and nobody wants to write their own story. And I must put out there that I was born in Africa. I was born in Africa and I grew up in Africa from the 70s. So I saw my great grandfathers, I saw the miracles that they performed right in front of our eyes before in the 70s. I traveled through Republic of Benin, Togo, Ghana, Malta, Hungary, different religions, Austria, Canada, and all this place. So I have seen all the religions. And above all of it, I had to deconstruct myself, learn from everything to get to the God state of knowing that I am a child of God. That is the cross I carry. So
Yes.
I learned from everything and got to a point where I know that I'm a child of God. So that became my story and the miracles I have seen. So I will not trade my story, that story, to put his story. It's impossible because that is my truth. So coming to our community, to be God, to get to one of us, to find unity, when you are in harmony and balance is in the heart. When the heart is in harmony and in unity, your universe becomes such because it is alive and gives birth to its kind. So for our brothers and our sisters, find your harmony. That is, appreciate the goodness of God. Love the trees, love the children, and you don't look to solve somebody else's problem. When you get out of your house in the morning, be nice to yourself. First of all, learn to be little words. Affirm yourself and be good to yourself, and don't be afraid of yourself. Talk to yourself, and then when you go out, tell the next person. Don't wait for somebody outside to come fix it for you.
Yeah.
This is to my community I'm speaking right now.
Mm.
Don't wait for somebody else's books to tell you how to behave. Love people. Tell them on the street how much. Begin to practice it, that we might be able to break the spell that has been placed within us, mentally, spiritually. Tell your neighbors how much you love them and be a part of their success.
Mm.
Be a part of their success, so therefore you can be successful. Let
Yes.
go of things and break the chains. Let's ascend. That's my word.
Thank you, my brother. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, brother Ibra and Tenyu, I'll let you guys go and respond, and then Sister Tasha, you're up. And looking at the time, I think this might be our last word. This might be our last word.
Ouais, ok. Alright. Peut-être, je vais revenir un peu sur tout ce qui a été dit depuis que j'étais présent. Il y a la notion du point zéro. Pour nous, dans l'initiation, le point zéro, le fait que dans l'Occident, il fait référence au néant, on ne peut pas le prendre, nous, comme référence, à moins que si on parle du point zéro comme un point d'origine. Ça, je voudrais quand même préciser.
And sorry, you just dit quoi au point néant, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire néant? Au point néant, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire néant?
Le néant, ça veut dire que rien n'existe. Donc, ça veut dire que nous, on ne peut pas se référer au point zéro pour la manière que l'Occident amène cette connaissance-là. On va plutôt parler du point d'origine parce qu'il n'y a pas de vide dans l'univers.
Okay, so you're saying so basically when you're an initiate, you understand that point zero is not a point of where there's nothing. There was always something. Okay.
C'est pour ça que mon frère faisait référence tantôt à tu dois connaître l'histoire. Connaître l'histoire, c'est connaître son point d'origine.
Yes, so to know the story, you got to know your history. You got to know the original where it all started.
Yeah. Donc, c'est pour ça que pour nous, l'initiation, le mot initiation est utilisé et même galvaudé dans le monde occidental. Pour faire ça simple, l'initiation, là, c'est on te donne une éducation kémétique. L'initiation, là, c'est pas on va te faire des rites. Non, non. On va te donner une éducation kémétique.
Okay, so basically, so just so people understand, when we talk initiation, when the brother from Kepler talking initiation, it's an education. It's basically you're being educated. You're being on the, I guess, like it's like a Kemetic education. see with medical education.
Ok. Et l'éducation kémétique, quand on parle des Dogons, ce sont les gardiens de la connaissance. Et quand on parle de connaissance, on parle de connaissance universelle. C'est pour cette raison que souvent, pour nous, on fait référence à la cosmogonie et au drame sacré. Ça, c'est une histoire c'est une façon d'expliquer ou bien d'introduire, en termes d'initiation, d'introduire un enfant de 7 ans au début de sa connaissance. Ça veut dire qu'on va commencer à construire l'individu avec une histoire qui s'appelle cosmogonie. Donc, cosmogonie, dans son sens large, c'est une histoire pour enfants, mais à l'intérieur duquel tous les mystères sont là, et c'est l'enfant, à travers son développement, qui doit décoder à travers ses recherches, ses réflexions, ses remises en question, les mystères de la connaissance.
So hold on, let me repeat that. So when we're talking, first of all, so you guys can understand the Dogon history and the roots. So first of all, when we talk about the Dogons, so understand that they are guardians of spiritual knowledge, I guess you could say, knowledge, spiritual, ancestral knowledge. They are guardians of knowledge. Right? So that's
Pour faire référence au frère et attends, je vois pas bien. Abraham. Quand il parle de quand il parle de ce qu'il a pu observer lui par rapport à son village, les miracles opérés devant ses yeux, pour nous, ce qu'il faut comprendre, c'est que quand que la fac ou bien l'école des mystères s'ouvre à notre époque, c'est que on est à la recherche des personnes légitimes de pouvoir opérer à ce niveau. Et malheureusement, comme la cosmogonie nous l'a enseigné, Osiris a été découpé en plusieurs morceaux et éparpillé à travers le Nil. Mais prenez ça à l'échelle de notre histoire. L'Afrique a été découpée et les enfants ont été envoyés partout à travers le monde. Et là, maintenant, les Dougons reviennent et ils vous disent, nous allons retrouver les morceaux, nous allons recoller le morceau, et vous avez les gardiens de la connaissance, personnes légitimes, capables d'identifier ces personnes pour faire le travail. Donc, ça veut dire pour nous, c'est de réunir, de dire que nous n'avons pas toutes les connaissances, mais nous avons la base qui va pouvoir permettre Haïtiens, Togolais, Trinidadiens, diaspora dispersée à travers la planète, de pouvoir dire, ah voilà, nous avons le point zéro ou le point d'origine.
Wow, well said, brother. Well said. Okay, so let me translate, and then I gotta give Sister Taja the floor. All right, because we have like 5 minutes, and it's heavy. It seems like there's going to be a part 3.
Sister Taj, I just get to answer my brother. I think I understand what he's saying. Please.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'll reiterate to the best of my ability, because really what he was saying again in terms of just understanding the Dogon roots and understanding what it was, and he had made a reference regarding what you were saying. In terms of just the experiences that you had going across continents and different things like that. So what the example or what he was explaining is just that using the story of Haru or Horus, who was chopped up and his limbs were and his body was dispersed all over the world. Those who have the Dogon, those who were educated by the Dogon, it's understandable. They're actually here to bring back all the pieces, all the brothers, and all the initiates, all the people who have the knowledge, who are kind of all over the globe. All over
exactly. Yes. Yeah.
We so your ancient wisdom and knowledge to draw all those people back, so that you could kind of continue the work, so to speak, or just basically, it's because we're in an era right now where that knowledge and that information is necessary. So they're doing the work in terms of bringing that back. So that's the essence in terms of just understanding the spiritual roots, the cultural roots of where the Dogons are coming from. They're coming from a very foundational piece. All right, so thank you for that. So Sister Taja, the floor is yours. And just looking at the time, guys, what we'll do, so we'll give our final words each, but it's not going to be the end of this conversation.
No, it can't
We're
be.
going to definitely have to have a part 3. The final word is going to open a whole other conversation, but I have to say. So Sister Taja, you could go ahead.
Oh, because you know this conversation is not done. We have just only hit the tip of this iceberg right here. You know, which is so beautiful that we're having this conversation and putting so much clarity, you know, for everybody, so that, you know, no matter which side that you're on, just know that you are loved, you are seen, you are heard, you are precious, and that you are part of this system of perfection. So whether you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, whether you're a spiritualist, whether you're an atheist and you just don't believe in nothing, just know that as long as you're breathing, you're doing something. And I wanted to bring back the quick point to that cup of water that you were talking about. You know, if you look at the cup of water, right? That cup of water, yes, you put the water inside and it holds it, but it was something that we were supposed to do with that water. We were supposed to let that water overflow. See, when you start to let the water overflow, then you start to become more of the essence of that spirit, of that energy. You understand? And then you start to become that full at oneness with it. But when we sit down there and we tap that water right there at the top of the cup and we say, all right, that's it. Then yes, now we're seeing the I am within ourselves, and we're moving around and we're shaking, and it's just like, yes, you know, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm a spiritualist. When you let that water actually overflow, then you start to realize that you're even more than that. That you become even more than even the parameters of what we have limited ourselves in our human existence. And our minds may not be able to fully conceptualize all of that fullness, but when that overflow starts to come, now we start to really see our connection with each other, because then the happiness, the peace, the calm, and those things start to fill you up. And all the parameters, whether you're a Christian, a man, or a woman, or this or that, and all the things that were excluding you starts to re-include you, because you realize that it's just an extension of you, like a finger. So I thank you guys so much for that, and thank you.
Thank you, Queen. And before we close, I want you to plug your contacts and stuff again before we close off. I'll let Brother Ibrahim say his piece, and then I will say my last piece, and then we'll close up, and everyone will just give their handles and stuff like that, and we'll reconvene next week. So, Brother Ibrahim, you want to respond?
Thank you. I just want to say, like, thank you to the brothers that came from the Dugan, and thank you for what you said before. And yeah, that's why I said the best way to go home is to be in gratitude to nature. You're looking for a home.
Yep.
You're looking to go back home.
Yep.
So it's a spiritual path. You have to love nature. You have to be in gratitude, humility at all times. That is, initially be blind, but with consistency and having a faith, you would find that the darkness will turn into light. So we don't speak to nature no more. We that are here, we don't take the time to bless the seas, to see the birds, to see the trees, to love each other, to love ourselves. That's the way home for all of us. So thank you, brother. And for those who want to connect with me, you can reach me at 514-692-9923, or connect to me through House of OSC Pharaoh, the best bet, my brother. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much. God bless. Love.
Thank you. So before I'll give the final word. So Brother Ikriba and Tenu, do you guys want to say some final words and let people know where they can connect with you guys if they want more information?
Really simply, we'll be here for the next sessions, and we'll make sure to be part of the conversation.
Yes. Looking forward to it. Thank you, my brother. Thank you so much. Brother Samuel?
Yeah, pour la partie personnelle, moi, je vais pas trop donner de détails, mais je travaille sur plusieurs projets et je vais tous les développer dans le FC. Mais en gros, ça va être de l'information sur la plateforme radio, qu'on fait de manière régulière, une structure opérationnelle qui aide à conditionner l'intelligence artificielle pour l'optimiser pour nos savoirs ancestraux, qui permet d'utiliser ces nouvelles technologies-là dans nos fonctions, dans le cadre de nos réalités, et de l'intelligence d'affaires, de la structuration d'affaires, de la structure de business, mais basée sur de la géométrie ancestrale. Je suis en train de bâtir tout ça, mais ce n'est pas pour tout de suite parce que je veux que ce soit solide avant de pouvoir le déployer, mais ça va être déployé à travers l'OFC. Donc le mot final, je voulais juste qu'on garde en tête.
Hold on, let me just translate that. So he's just saying, so in terms of what he has going on, so he has a lot of awesome projects he's working on. He's going to be launching them through the OFC, so don't worry, when it's time, we will know. And it has something to do with just enhancing what we're doing business-wise, using artificial intelligence as well as spirituality and consciousness, if I understand correctly. So it's a platform that he's developing in order to allow us to be able to advance. But if he hasn't put it out yet, once it's ready, then we'll know. Okay, brother. So you can give your final words as well.
Yeah, but the final one, I really want to be short. We have to focus on how we operationalize that, because this is where our community has problems in this corner. If we start to look at things from, let's say, I'm a Buddhism, I'm Asian. If I look at this line, I'm going to act a certain way. I'm going to look at, let's say, a Christian a certain way. But we are within something bigger than that. And if we focus on that, let's say like the Trinity, the Buddhism, we are in this. If we can focus on how do we make sure we have a flow within ourselves, like we don't have to go deep inside the truth of everyone, but how can we keep operationality and also with the mundane, because we still have to live in this physical world, pay bill, all of that. So how do we take that into account, put this into our structure, and we're really, really, really lucky because we have the OFC. There's a lot of untapped potential within the community and something built like more than a decade, and that facilitate connection. And we are people of connection. As long as we have a way of connecting, we have a way for every solution that we're going to need. So that's if you have this, we're all really good. That's
Hey, Aibobo, good, well said. Thank you for that. Sister Taja, you want to give your final words and what you're working on and how we can follow up with you?
Yes, thank you so much. So every day, 7 to 9, I do a Reverend Ike session. I'm talking basically about what it is that we are doing here in this room today. You know, he was a preacher that was excommunicated from the church. They basically kicked him out, called him a charlatan and everything else. And he was utilizing the Bible to remind you of who you are as a spirit, like giving you the full, real guide of what it is. And so I do that every morning on all the platforms except for Instagram right now. So that's on TikTok, on YouTube, on Twitch, and on Facebook. That's every morning from 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then I also have a podcast called Don't Shoot the Messenger, where we take these hot topics and, you know, from men to women to everything, and just have a conversation on a black and white conversation. So it's really something that, you know, following in this lead and following in this building of the community, it's time for us to speak the truths that have been holding us back and what we could do to glue it back together. So you guys can check those out. They all premiere on all the platforms. So I appreciate that, baby. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Queen. So you guys know again from Farrell Freeman, the founder and director of the Ofc Community. So every week we have a couple of different things that we're doing. So as you guys know, we're on here every Sunday for the House of OFC, where we have these conversations going on. Every Tuesday morning, 7:30 a.m. We are also back on Zoom. It's a platform that we created for us to network, for us to get to know each other, for us to build community, for us to offer support and give support as needed. But at the base, we can't say the community well takes the time to get to know each other, and that's what we do on a weekly basis every Tuesday morning. Every Thursday morning from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. we're on CKT 90.3 FM. So that is the OFC Podcast Radio, where again we create a space for members of our community, like all of us here, who have things that they want to share, create awareness, let people know exactly what's going on. We create that space for you guys as well. So these are some of the things that we're doing on a regular basis, and on a daily basis at 12 o'clock Eastern Time, we take a pause for peace, where we just take literally 2 to 5 minutes every day at 12 o'clock Eastern Time to just pause, reflect on the world that we have, respect on the world that we're creating, reflect and be appreciative for what we have, so that we could raise the vibration for ourselves, our household, as well as community. So those are things that we're doing on a regular basis within the OFC. So my final quick words on this topic, and this is a hot topic and one that we're going to need to continue and build on. It is this came to me from it was something I heard from Bobby Hemmett, and I might have shared it in a previous session as well, but I'll share it again right now. And it's to understand that not everybody's awoken at the same time.
Ah,
And we all set different spiritual alarms.
We all have our own journey.
So now our alarms went off some time
Yep.
ago. It could have been recently, so it could have been years ago. So we've been functioning awoken. Now, just because we're weak, we have to be mindful that it's not necessarily our responsibility to go around and waking everybody up.
Up. That's right.
In their own time. So I feel that one of our best things that we can do is, again, setting that example of what is love, setting that example of what is unity, of what is spirituality, what is understanding, what is growth, what is forgiveness, what is, like, I feel like that is our responsibility, is to be able to be that example for those who are seeking it, so that we can continue to build. Like I said, this is just the beginning of the conversation. I'm gonna continue to reach out to our brothers and sisters from different religious denominations to get their perspectives and get their point of views, because I feel that is how we're going to be able to really get to that middle ground. And understanding that we're not here to convince anybody of anything. We're not here to change anybody's points of view. All we're looking to do is just find a middle ground where we can all build the best for ourselves and our future generation, because it is not possible for us to thrive as individuals in silos. We thrive as a collective. We thrive as a community. We thrive as a united people. Yep. So we have to be able to put our differences aside and seek that. So guys, with that, this has been another amazing House of OFC. I thank you all for participating today. Sending you guys love, light, strength, great health, peace, joy, wealth. Did I say wealth? More wealth for everybody.
More wealth, more wealth, more wealth, more wealth, more wealth.
Very soon. Hotep, amen, ashe, aibobo.
Aibobo.
See you guys soon. Thank you.